Welcome to Range Day here. We've got a new addition to the collection to share with you. It is my Blackout Systems 300 Blackout. That's what it's chambered in, pistol. How I came about this rifle and why I wanted it, about the end of 2023 in my local gun club, the owner of Blackout Defense was there, and they're just showing some of the rifles. And I mean, if you guys have never seen a Blackout Defense rifle, it is absolutely stunning. I'll try to get a little bit closer, and I'll also be running some B-roll that I've shot. It is just a beautiful rifle with this anodized aluminum in both the lower and upper. They make pretty much nearly everything in-house. It is beautifully engineered. There's some advanced technology in this thing I'll try to talk about. I'm not an expert on it, but all in all, you know, beautiful rifle. Very, very well built, but also very expensive. And so, you know, beautiful AR-15s, but I'm not really an AR-15 guy per se. I do, you know, if I lean that way, I'll go into the piston-driven versus the direct impingement. But, you know, my interests sort of lie elsewhere than just getting a bunch of AR-15s. So I was sort of wondering and thinking about 300 Blackout and what was that round. Of course, when you run it suppressed, it looks, you know, pretty cool and it sounds awesome. And so I said, hey, are you guys going to be doing any, you know, rifles chambered in 300 Blackout? And he said, yeah, we're going to kick that off at the beginning of 2024. Obviously, it'll take some time to get it. But right around February of 2024, sure enough, they launched their, you know, both a rifle version and a pistol version chambered in 300 Blackout. I put in my order. I got it in primordial green and I think, what do they call this? Anodized bronze or a burnt bronze. And that's sort of the color scheme that I decided to go with. And, you know, waited about 9 months, 10 months, and just picked this thing up in late October, early November. Been sitting in the safe as I've been sort of building it out. So I'll cover off some of the build here. I added a Huxworks 7.62 muzzle brake. I also tried a Cloud Defense rain light for the first time. I've never used these lights before. My initial reaction was it's sort of a pain in the ass. I don't know if I like it as much as I do the Surefires. But once I turn this thing on, man, I mean, it is bright. It is super bright, and it's starting to grow on me a little bit more. I had a Holosun Ames, AEMS sight that I decided to put on it. Got a Savvy Sniper sling. Went with an emissary fin here at the bottom. And it came with this stock. I think it's a, what is this stock? I think it's a SB or SU stock. I think it's like, you know, basically the big sort of pistol brace. So that's what I basically, you know, have on it and what I'm running with. And so the goal today is to basically get some rounds. I got a bunch of different ammo to try out. We'll sort of check it out, run some ammo through it, and we'll try it both suppressed and unsuppressed. And I've got some subsonic as well as some supersonic. And the goal is just to put some rounds through it and sort of have some fun. So we'll see. Okay, so let's read off some of the specs for the spec heads. It's a 9-inch pistol, has an 8.5-inch rail. Again, as I mentioned, got a Huxworks muzzle brake. It does have a Superlative Arms adjustable gas block, and the charging handle is a striker that has been, you know, custom color coded to match the initial color selection. The trigger is a Blackout Defense trigger. It's one of their own. It's a 4.5-pound trigger, and the safety selector is a 45 and 90 ambi selector, and the grip is a Magpul MOE K2. So that's some of the specs to go along with the rifle, again chambered in 300 Blackout. I think I did forget to mention it is fully ambi on both sides, both the bolt release and the mag release. You've got access to that on both sides, so full ambidextrous capability here. All right, so we've got some supersonic, it's some Winchester. I'll show you what that ammo is. I don't know if it's good or not. I just got a bunch to try. Let's get the first rounds through it. Okay, Does have a little bit of recoil to it for sure. And bolt lock back, okay. I think this definitely needs to be a little bit of a gas adjustment on it, but all in all, went through fine. First time I've ever shot 300 Blackout. I've heard it described as the American 7.62 by 39. I think it's actually 7.62 by 35 if I'm not mistaken. But all right, we got it through first rounds. Let's go try some other ammo. Hey, the ammo that I was using was this Winchester Target Practice. 125 grain open tip, you know, sort of designed and priced for range and target practice. I don't know if any of you have any experience with this. So far, first 20 rounds, not bad. Okay, for this next ammo, I'm using PPU and 125 grain. And that's pretty much all it says on the box there, just to give you any more data. So PPU ammo, we'll see how this works here. Okay, bolt lock back. So far so good on that. Again, if you have any experience with the PPU or Winchester ammo, please comment, or any recommendations on ammo in which to use. Let's go try some subsonic. We'll try subsonic unsuppressed, and then we'll put a suppressor on and see how that runs. All right, we'll just run a couple rounds of the subsonic through it without any suppressor. I'm running the Winchester Super Suppressor 300 Blackout. This is 200 grain, open tip, range subsonic. Again, just wanted to try it. Oh, that did not go. All right. Okay, had a jam on that. Okay, this has turned into a bolt action on this. Okay, that locked back. Yeah, I think definitely the gas must be set, maybe not to run this. So I'm going to just try one more round here. All right, that seems to be working better. Let me just empty this mag. All right, so maybe it was magazine related versus ammo related. This is a Lancer mag. I'm just dedicating these to subsonic, but I've got another magazine of subsonic. Let's go ahead and put that in, and we'll go through maybe like 10 rounds, see if that works any better. Okay, we're back. We're just going to try another Lancer mag here, and see how that goes. All right, that locked back. Well, let me lock the bolt back. Everything is fine in there. That is definitely not liking these mags. Okay. And same thing, basically. All right, so I'm gonna go try these subsonics in another magazine that I have. I wanna try to rule out the magazine issue here versus something else. So let's try that. We're just gonna try the Magpul mag with the subsonic. See how that goes. Might be a magazine issue, so this seems to work okay. I don't want to blow through all my subsonics. I want to try it suppressed. So we'll get this back on safe there. And we'll just put a suppressor on it and let's see if we can fire off the rest. Okay, we got the rest of my subsonics here. We're going to try this and see how this works. So I've got a Huxworks 762 flow-through can. I think it's their TI version. So we'll try that. Okay, bolt lock back on that, fired flawlessly. Magpul mags seem to be doing the trick. No real gas back in my face on that at all. Really very pleasant shooting experience. It does have an adjustable gas module. I have not adjusted any gas on this thing. I don't know what it's set coming from the factory as. Probably need to go through the proper procedure and adjust the gas block and make sure everything's tuned for what I'm running. But so far, really like it. And what a great experience shooting a suppress, man. That was awesome. So anyway, with that, we're gonna go ahead and get this thing zeroed now, and then we'll call it a day. Okay, just to be thorough, let me run some supersonics through it and just see how that works, just to try to go through all of the bases. Oh, got a jam on that one. Okay, locked back on that. So we had one jam on that. Again, it might just be gas adjustment, not sure. Could be some magazines, or maybe how everything's locking up in here. So there we are. Just want to close out today with just some more tests. I've got the Lancer Max. I'm going to run supersonic through the suppress mode and just sort of see how we do, and just try to get a couple of more learnings with this thing and see what's potentially causing it to malfunction, or maybe it doesn't malfunction. We'll see. Okay, that locked back on that, no problem. I'm running PPU on this. Back on that. No problem on that. All right, it made it through all the magazines, including the Lancer. Maybe it was just shitty Winchester ammo. Most of all, this ammo was PPU, running it supersonic through the Hux Works. Everything seemed to function. Of course, I'm still within the break-in period, so maybe it's just getting broke in a little bit more. But that worked really, really well. So we'll see. We'll keep testing. But a little skeptical on the Lancer mags. I need to get some more subsonic and run those through and just make sure this thing's running as well as I can get it, and also definitely need to adjust the gas. Okay, first impressions on the Blackout Defense pistol, chambered in 300 Blackout. Again, this is my first experience with 300 Blackout, my first experience with Blackout Defense. And actually, I think this is probably my first pistol in terms of, the world of rifles and stuff like that. Outside of the PCCs, I got a couple of PCCs. So all in all, the rifle is built really well. You can just tell this thing reeks of quality. It's a little bit heavier than I was expecting. So definitely, based on some of the other pistols that I've held or shot from friends, definitely heavier. But that's to be, expected, considering all of the, the material here. Everything is built really, really solid. I can't stress that enough. You pick one of these up, it just reeks of quality, craftsmanship, well built. The recoil was more than I was expecting, to be honest. I didn't think it would recoil as bad. I was expecting, obviously, it'd be a little bit louder. But using a pistol brace, I think the shooting experience would just be much better with a real stock. But I don't want to I'd like to take this wherever I need to go and maybe compete with it. I don't want to be having to, ask the ATF for permission every time I cross state lines. And so I'm going to keep the pistol brace on it, but definitely from the overall experience, I think it would be better with a full-on, stock. But the recoil was more than I was expecting. That would be my initial impression there. Running suppressed versus unsuppressed, the shooting experience is fantastic. Unsuppressed, I mean, man, this thing's like pretty quiet. From a can standpoint and from the gas, I didn't really notice any gas. I do know that on the charging handle, the reason why they make it themselves is they really like to seal off gas coming from that. If you've shot a lot of rifles, you know that gas escapes from there, and it goes right into your face. So I didn't really notice any gas blowback. I had a good shooting experience when it was suppressed. Nothing obnoxious about it. Now, again, I'm using a flow-through can, so if it's a non-flow-through can, your experience may be radically different. Again, had some malfunctions today. Some of that might be due to ammunition. I was running the Winchester range ammo, Winchester subsonic. I had all brand new mags. The magazines were Magpul, and I believe Lancer were sort of these plastics clear ones. Had some malfunctions. I think running the subsonic through the Lancers. Again, that may be break-in, it may be magazine related, it may be ammo related, I don't know. I'm going to chalk it up to maybe the break-in period and potentially the magazines, because when I took those same rounds and ran it within the Magpul mags, I didn't have any issues, although I didn't run a huge quantity, so I can't rule anything out as of right now. So I want to get some ammo, I want to get some more ammo, I want to test this thing through. I think we're probably just under 100 rounds to a day. I'll probably take it apart and clean it. I've read where you should put some anti-seize on that adjustable gas sort of screw. Otherwise, you may have issues down the road, so maybe I'll look to do that. But I'll clean it out. I read where you need to season these barrels. That was a new one on me, and I don't know, man. I mean, this is like a pistol. I'm not, going for super accurate, sub MOA type stuff, but I'll probably give it a clean out, lube it up a little bit, and just get it ready for the next testing session. The barrel and the technology in this thing is pretty cool. It's called dual taper lock. I'm just going to refer you to Mr. Guns and Gear on his in-depth review on this rifle. He does a great job going into this dual taper lock technology, does a much better job explaining it. Basically, all I took away from it is that, you know, the barrel's tapered and the mechanism in which you mount it into the upper receiver, that's also tapered. And when two tapers come together, they center the barrel to a very high degree, which helps accuracy. The barrel does have some, I call them flutes, but there's, you know, some circular grooves that are cut in to help with cooling, so it keeps it cool. And then they've done some Cairo or some cold treatment to this barrel to make it even more accurate. So the barrels are known to be super accurate. Don't ask me how all that technology works. But again, from a pistol configuration, I'm not really thinking I need to season it and stuff like that. I just want to have some fun with this thing and have a 300 Blackout pistol and go to the range, pop off a couple of rounds, and possibly some home defense. I'm not sure yet. But obviously I want to get to a point where I'm really comfortable with the reliability. So the balance feels really good. It is a little front heavy, and again, I'm running the can on it. So you'll find it might be a little bit front heavy. It's super light like back here, so it sort of weights a little bit more towards the front. But really comfortable, comfortable to get up, comfortable to shoot. And all in all, so far, my experience has been, I would say, above average. And definitely want to get back out here and run some more ammo, test these mags out a little more thoroughly, get it through its break-in, and then sort of see where I sit with that, if there's any, you know, malfunctions that I'm seeing and stuff like that. Outside the malfunctions I had today, I'm not overly concerned about those. Those are, you know, somewhat common. And again, I'm running suppressed and unsuppressed, supersonic, subsonic. And I just wanted to get rounds through this thing. And the magazine's probably a little more suspect. I did buy 300 Blackout magazines. One of the things for you guys, at least that was conveyed to me, was that, you know, a 5.56 rifle will chamber a 300 Blackout round. And if you fire it, bad things will happen. So what I've done is just to make sure that, you know, I've marked all of the magazines. These are 300 Blackout mags. From what I've been told, you know, the feed lips might be a little bit different on these versus the 5.56, but this rifle will run and load up a 5.56 mag, should be without any problem. So you've got this interchangeability between the two rounds, but they are not interchangeable in terms of the operation. And it can be pretty dangerous if you get your ammo mixed up. If you are shooting with people and they're out here with 5.56 and you're out here with 300 Blackout, make sure that you tell them. They shouldn't be picking up rounds that they're not sure of and putting it back into a mag. They really need to take it home and verify that it's the right round for their rifle. That's something that, again, I was at a training and one guy was shooting 300 Blackout there, and that was like, hey, the guy didn't want anyone picking up any, you know, unspent rounds on the, you know, ground. So I'll just convey that. This is what I've done. I'm trying to keep everything separate. I did have a 5.56 rifle out here earlier. I was doing some testing with that. So I've been very careful just to keep everything separate, everything put away, and mark all of the magazines as much as I can. So anyway, I'll just share that with you as a novice in working with 300 Blackout and the things that I've been told and the things that have been impressed upon me. So all in all, gorgeous rifle, super stoked to have it, super stoked to add it to the collection. I'll bring you along on the next journey when I'm out here on the range with this thing, putting it through its paces. And I think that's it. So signing out. I hope everyone is doing awesome and that everyone has an amazing 2025.